Hey, this is 51550, aka Reba. And I had someone who was a critic of my videos that would leave critical remarks, and people generally call them trolls or bootlickers. And I kind of reached out to him so we could actually have a discussion about our opposing views about auditing in general. And he was receptive to that, and I appreciate that. We've never talked on the phone before, but we emailed and decided today to make a video. He has questions for me, and I wrote down some questions that I have for him. But I want to start out by, I'm just going to call him anonymous. I'm not going to reveal the screen name he uses when he makes comments, and I have no idea if he has anything on his YouTube channel or not. I have no clue. I've never looked. But anyway, are you a cop, a trooper, a law enforcement officer?
No, I'm not, Miss Weaver, but I do work in the system.
Like in the judicial system?
I do.
Okay, all right, but you're not somebody that can arrest somebody.
No.
Okay.
By no means, no.
Okay, we got that. Okay, now the floor is yours. Ask anything that you would like to know from an auditor.
Well, here's my deal, Reba. I'm 100% First Amendment. I get it. I totally get it. But the auditors, not you per se, because I watch you. You don't curse. You don't call names. You go out there and we video. It does right. As far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And believe me, I'm telling the facts. The other ones, like I'm gonna call them DJ Tyrone, Eric Grant, Newtown, California Garden, Newtown Community, or Houston, Patty Cake, Patty Ross, Newtown, Ohio. I can go on. But they feel the need to curse, call names, and I don't know why. What is it? Just to get views in YouTube? Is that it? Is that to get some money?
I'll tell you what my opinion about that is. I don't have a large following, and one of the reasons I think it's because I haven't so far been arrested, and keeping my fingers crossed about that one. But I think there are some people that rely on this to make a living and do want more drama for their videos to get more views because it's their income. I also think that some people get very cocky because they get by with going what I consider to be too far, but other people do not. But I'm a non-provocative auditor. But I think some people start to feel very emboldened and then take it farther as they gain more confidence. And
it's no issue.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Here's my issue. Like, whenever auditors go to a PDs or whatever, and they get and see police, and they get police here. I swear by police. What expect you going to see when you go to a PD? What's be there? Police.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Police with guns. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
They have to carry guns. It's part of their job. They carry guns. But when you go to a PD, you go into their home, and police are going to be there.
No. Wait. That's not their home. We own that property. No, we own that property. That's my building, and I let them work there.
Okay, well, but I'm saying, but that's where they're going to be at.
Right.
If you're afraid of cops, don't go where they're going to be at.
No. Auditors are not afraid of cops, or they wouldn't be auditing. They see the threat of cops. They see the abuse of power, and we want to keep them accountable for it and show that we know our rights because cops are out of hand.
And that's the question. If others had no cameras, not you, not saying you, but the ones I mentioned and some more, would they act that way without camera?
I don't think so in the slightest. I mean, I think when you go to do that, which I'm an impromptu person too. If I come across something, I video that too. So I don't just make plans to go somewhere. So I do it on the fly. But no, I don't think most auditors act that way if they're not videoing it. I would doubt, but I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I doubt everybody is Eric Brandt running around F the police type thing. You know?
I'm saying, but when they go to a police officer with no camera, say for maybe his body cam, and say, "Fuck you, Tyler. Fuck you, pig," would they?
I really don't know. Some might. I doubt it, but I'm sure there's some that would, but probably a minor few, But
if you want to press me, do that. With the camera.
What?
I was no good and dang well. Police ain't going to do nothing with that camera, and they shouldn't. I mean, free speech, I get it. That's pretty piss poor. Somebody working. So I know working, doing that job for the public, and go there and fuck you, pig, Tyler, or one Mr. Tyrone, Mr. the Phil DJ, scumbag.
New England Truth. You talking about New England Truth?
New England not Truth.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a Phil DJ.
Yeah.
And all you hear, he talks about why he got involved, a door hit an officer, in his career, whatever. See, I know I got friends who got friends where he's from, and he bragged about his winnings of court. He's full of crap. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay. All right. I have no idea either way about that, but I also think that a lot of the drama gets a lot worse when there are more auditors. I think there becomes a gang mentality. I think just like officers do, they get a gang mentality. And I think when you get a group of auditors together, they feel that much more emboldened. And I think they get more provocative and bold and push the limits. And there's several examples of that, like Leon Valley and things like that happen.
Yeah, with Leon Valley, that was all his fault, but that's when we talk about Leon Valley.
There's been a few disasters where the police and auditors have been culpable, both in their own way,
Let's talk about gangs. When is it also got tattoos of their gang members? You tell me.
Oh,
tell me also don't got tattoos?
Oh, you're talking about tattoos and gangs? Okay. Now, I have said, is that a gang tattoo? And let me tell you, that was one of my first audits. It was an off-duty sheriff guy, and he was at a gym and in his patrol car, and so he had tattoos. They were actually a college sorority tattoos or something, but I treated him like videos I'd seen officers treat citizens, where they get pulled over for expired tags and say, "Are you a gang member? Let me see your tattoos," and take pictures of them. I've seen on Tom Zebra where they will stop somebody on a bicycle doing nothing wrong and asking them about their gang affiliation. They call it a field interview. Are you gang affiliated? And take pictures for a database. So they start a database on you from your tattoos.
Yeah, I'm saying, but also got tattoos.
Some do now. It depends on. In Nashville, I'm starting to see tattoos, and I'm all for it. And the ones I've seen were pretty sexy, in my opinion. But I'm okay with that. But I call them out on it,
Why?
Because they do. Because they do. What gives them the right to question if you're gang affiliated because you have a tattoo? I have just as much of a right.
I'm saying, but auditors also have tattoos. So I mean, they bitch about some tattoos, but they got tattoos. A bunch of them do.
I don't care if they do, but I'm going to treat them the same way and ask them their gang affiliation and say, let me take pictures of your tattoos. Is it, are you part of MS-13? Because that's the way they treat the citizens.
Okay, now you something about expired tags. Seems like some auditors don't want police to do their jobs. Hello, auditors, listen to me. Speeding, can't do it. No license, can't do it. No insurance, you can't do it.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Get over it. Tag, you gotta have it. Get over it.
No one expects them not to pull you over if you've done something wrong. But what people expect is for them to not violate your rights, not tell you can't record the police stop. You can crack your window an inch and talk to them. You don't have to roll it down. You need to lock your doors because they just might jack it open and pull you out of there for no reason. You have rights when you're pulled over. All you owe them is your ID, and you don't have to say a single word. If you need proof of insurance, hand it to them. If you need your registration, hand it to them. But you don't have to do anything other than that. Hand it to them and not say a word. You owe them nothing. You owe them nothing. Huh?
But I'm saying, but some authors think that they should just ride around and do nothing.
No, that's a sovereign citizen. No, it's sovereign citizen. There's a big difference now.
No. Some authors think that, I believe. I mean, they think speeding, no insurance, like, it don't matter. We talk about videos. I'm good with it. Videos. But don't go into a stop with also you got a car, stop somebody, and pick up the film and don't know what it's about.
You mean don't film it?
No, film it. But I'm saying some of them they catch it when also they got a car already talking to somebody and they start assuming tire this, pig this, and don't know what's going on. They assume the officer's always wrong.
I have seen auditors do that. Yes, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And also, it seems like some auditors edit out what something happens. Also, something happens. They edit out what led to it. They don't. They just edit out. Also, put their hands on whatever, but they don't show you a lot of times what led up to it. Always officer's fault.
Okay.
Let's see the whole freaking video. Don't edit what you want for your channel. It's abusing the subs.
Okay, there's.
Let's see the whole video. If it's 2 hours long, it's 2 hours long.
Okay.
Let's see all of it.
Okay, well let me give you my point of view. Okay, I started out editing them down because I might be at, say, a police station. I might be there an hour. No one wants to watch my hour of walking around taking pictures and reading signs. People don't want to see an hour and a half long video or me walking there. You break it down. No one wants to watch something more than 5 or 10 minutes long. And if nothing happened prior to the encounter, people just fast forward to the encounter anyway. I don't think people edit out something they do wrong that provokes a bad thing from happening. I don't believe that.
I think it happens occasionally. That's all the time, but it happens occasionally. Maybe
occasionally, but I don't think that's standard by any means of auditors in general.
Okay. And, let's say we're filming. Like I said, no police all day long. Okay? Do it. But when we start filming libraries, DMVs, hospitals, please tell me why. Why? Don't tell me it's public. A library, I'm thinking a library. What you gonna run, library filming? Please tell me that.
Okay, all right. I saw one library video that was really, really cool, because the library was a historical place, and it was really interesting, but the woman was offended by it. But no, I don't understand that. I do not understand VA hospitals at all, even though the rights still apply. But in the lobby, and there is no HIPAA violation in going in the lobby, and it is a government building, and the general public can go into the lobby if you're not a patient. So it's legal, but I don't support that. I don't support it. DMVs, it's not my thing. And I don't understand post offices, but a lot of people do that. But it's not something that I like watching. But, you know.
That was stupid. See, I made comments on that, and see, I'm a troll. I'm a bootlegger. No. See, like, authors cannot stand somebody having, and I said earlier, the opinion from them. They always have to be right. And no matter what, comments that they don't like, supposed to be a bootlegger, a cocksucker, a troll, all that good stuff. All because they don't want to hear somebody's got a pushing from them.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of the people who troll are law enforcement, and it amazes me how much time they spend watching audits. So that's one question I have. If you disagree with the way auditors behave or why they do the things they do, and not you, I don't know how much you watch. I have no idea, because you haven't commented on many. You haven't commented on many of my videos, but you've made enough to where it inspired a conversation. But there are people that spend all their time trolling and trolling and trolling. So why are they watching it all the time if they disagree with it so deeply?
I wish I knew. If it's me, it's just because every comment is always one-sided. A lot of times, it's one-sided. Always the officer are bad. Also this, also that. I told you earlier. Now, also back at it. Also, absolutely. But telling you on some stuff, you know, all of it bad. And some of them say that the health officers get killed for real. Are you kidding me?
Well, I'll tell you what I do. I'm very careful. I watch my comments carefully. And the reasons I do is I interact with the people who comment on my page. When I have a serious troll that's continuous, I give up trying to speak with them and just ignore them. But people who make comments, especially constructive criticism, I love that. And people that give me suggestions of how to do it a different way, I love that. It helps me learn and grow and be better at what I'm doing and educate myself on how to handle the judicial system in itself. So I appreciate it, and I also want the people to leave comments to know that I appreciate that and that I'm reading it, and I appreciate the support. But, you know, it's rare that you have just maybe you shouldn't have cussed that officer out. Usually it's a lot more provocative in their language than that, in the trolling. I mean, you know, there's a little criticism like, why would you do a post office? You know, why don't you go somewhere, you know, say it like that instead of, you know, you never used profanity or anything that I recall. I don't recall any of your comments specifically, but you've never been drastic, and that's one reason why I reached out to you to see if you wanted to have a reasonable conversation. But seriously, some of them are obviously police officers who hate us, and I'm sure a lot of them have been victims of us, and they have been embarrassed by it, or somebody they know have been embarrassed by their own behavior, or somebody in their department, and they have a gang mentality where it's an us against them. The public has that mentality, but the police have that mentality too. And that is one thing that I try to do, is try to bridge that whenever I have an opportunity to come to a reasonable conclusion instead of escalating a situation. Just like how I'm trying to make it to where complaint forms are available in Huntsville. I'm trying to go civilly through the proper channels to make that happen, instead of, you know, making it, you know, where let's have a mass audit and make their lives hell, you know. But some people do that, and that's a method in itself. And I'll tell you, there's most movements and big things that happen that make change come from extreme resistance. I mean, whether it's women being able to vote, stopping slavery, black people being able to vote, the civil rights movements would have never changed if violence wasn't involved or extreme activism was involved. So we have extreme auditors, but there's also a lot that are not. And I think a lot of times we're put into all a basket, which we also seem to do with police officers in general. But I give them the benefit of the doubt from the beginning. And I've had a lot of wonderful interactions, and my best ones are from Nashville. My best encounters are. And it makes me proud because this is my where I live. But, you know, the us against them is sad, but there's a reason behind it. It's because it's true for both sides. For real reasons. Each side is legitimate. You know, the police feel attacked, and, you know, we feel attacked. And both are true. You know?
The other day, I happened to see a thing on Inside Dishing. That was terrible.
Yeah.
I thought. I mean, you got somebody calling a woman officer. It's Piggy. But the officer can run circles around Mr. Tyrone all alone and twice on Sunday.
Did you see his rebuttal? Did you see the whole video that he took?
I think I might have, but I can't watch him no more. So he calls everybody he's a scumbag.
Okay, I disagree with that. I disagree with that behavior, but all auditors have a different approach. I disagree with that. I completely disagree with that. But I did feel better when I saw he took accountability, and he said that he was going to try to improve on that. That maybe he shouldn't take it that far. When I saw his footage of the entire interview, they edited it down a lot to make auditors look. Took the worst out of auditing, you know, just like media does, you know. But I appreciated that he videoed it to give us the whole thing, where I felt he took some accountability about it, and kind of saw where he was a little extreme. Whether he will change his behavior with that or not is yet to be seen. Who knows? I don't know.
He won't, because he says for himself. It's like I saw one recently the other day. In an airplane or something was over his house. He swore to God he thought it was the police following him. Mr. Tyrone was not that important, my man. You're not that important.
Okay, I watched about 6 seconds of that video, cracked up laughing, and turned it off. Now, yesterday, I heard a police helicopter circling. Now, this is Nashville. This is not L.A. where police helicopters normally are around. You know, they don't do that unless they're chasing something for real. And so I flew to go try to find out what was going on. I found 4 police cars. They all went different directions. I followed one and lost him. But I ended up on my way home finding a wreck, and I did a video of that and posted it last night. But I think that's some paranoia stuff right there, because no, he's not that important. And if the government wants to know that much about you, they do that covertly. Not flying a helicopter over your house. I mean, that... It
happens a lot.
Huh?
I mean, it happens a lot with officers. They get to a car and start video, and a car is behind them, push off, and they are so paranoid that they're following them. They're just riding, going somewhere else. But there's some sick people out there who are paranoid badly. It's a mess. It's bland. You want up, my man.
I did not know about Eric Brandt until about a month ago, and I was blown away. I had never seen such in all my life. And at first, I found it very entertaining. And then when he was doing all that at the police and stuff in front of kids, that really turned me off to what he was doing, and I haven't been watching since then. But that's just my own personal opinion, and you can not watch who you don't agree with. You know, you have that option. I don't go to his channel and start telling him how bad he sucks because I disagree with what he does. I just simply don't watch, you know.
And you got some authors who are doing it as a vendetta, who have some past record issues.
Yeah, that's true.
One nobody in Houston, Texas, that I think everybody knows what we're talking about. I think a lot of them, they blame police for all their troubles. Get over it, guys and ladies, not you, but get over it. If you messed up, you messed up. Like a rotation of the rotation, I'm gonna see props. The other day, you know, a video talking about your past, how you have failures. Amen, brother. Good job for admitting that. But my problem is, I think a lot of them are trying to get even with the police because they feel that they are the reason for their past problems.
Huh. I never thought about that. I haven't had problems with the police prior. I don't count on them for anything at all. I did have a family member that needed the police for something very serious, and the police failed that person very deeply, and it was very, very upsetting. It has nothing to do with me auditing, but it was something very serious, and they really, really failed bad. And when I was young, very young, I had a beautiful car, and it was stolen. And so I called the police to make a report, you know, so there'd be a bolo on it, you know. And so I was telling him, showing him where it was parked, exactly what happened. I knew who stole it, who stole the keys to it and everything. And at the end of me telling him, he said, you know, I just don't think I'm getting the full story here. What are you talking about? Do you see the empty spot? He was like accusing me of, what was it going to be, an insurance fraud thing or something, when I just had my car stolen. I mean, what was up with that? I mean, that was decades ago. I have no vendetta about it. But that, you know, just stuff like that, I mean, it just gets under your skin. I mean...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, all that. And that thing, actually, some authors obsessed with assault. Let me tell you some authors, a little touch is not an assault. I can show you an assault. A little touch on your shoulder, on your arm, ladies and gentlemen, that's not an assault. I know any touches on it is considered, ladies and gentlemen, that's not an assault. So please stop saying I've been assaulted. Please. Spare everybody's time.
Okay, there's laws against that, and I can reference you to, say, a pop star, rock star. You have a photographer, and that star knocks the camera out of their hand, even if it doesn't touch them, that's assault. If they push you out of their way, it's assault. When officers unnecessarily touch you, manhandle you, grab you by the arm, grab your hand, try to take your camera, legally, that's assault.
But
Punching you in the face is not the only way to have an assault.
Hey, I have a question for you. How do you think, I've seen some others accuse others of this, that some others call ahead of time the police and tell them that somebody's coming outside the video and it's them, so the police will be out there when they get there.
You mean call the police on themselves?
Yes.
I've heard of that. I find that to be disgusting. I think if you do that, it's disgusting. But I have heard that people do that. I've never heard of specific people accused of that, but I find that to be disgusting behavior. I really do. If you need to do that, you're in this for the wrong reasons. Period.
I said some of them I get it who may have some past record issues, can't get a job.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But so many people I've seen are becoming younger. Like if they got Minnesota, it's a little kid. He's a kid, 18 years old. For real? Come on, man. You got a full on the edge. Go to college. Come on, man. Wise up.
Okay, I have a question. Do you disagree when auditors ask for their name and badge number when the police initiate a conversation with you?
Hang on, no. But it seems like some auditors can't get out his mouth before name, badge number. But the officer, he wants out. He didn't say name, badge number. You ain't got to be assholes about it. Excuse my language on here.
Yeah.
The assholes about it. Let the officer get what he wants out. Yeah, that name, badge number. You ain't got to be a butthole about it.
If an officer says something to me, my immediate response is, may I have your name and badge number? And I'm polite about it in the way I say it.
Yeah.
But they get offended, and to me, it's a superiority complex. How dare I question who they are? The ones that won't just tell me like they should. Now, some do.
Right.
And say, yes, I'm officer so-and-so, badge, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And some do great.
Right.
But some are so offended and completely refuse to. And they either have complete disdain for the public, or they have such a superiority complex, it disgusts me. And that's something that's getting more and more important to me every time it happens. It's an obvious policy. You don't need to go through yearly training to remind you of that. In fact, it's simple courtesy. I mean, that one gets under my skin, and I will never let that get by without filing a complaint against that. And period.
Okay. No question. Is being arrested to you a cool thing or Auditor?
Is it being arrested a cool thing? What?
Is being arrested a cool thing for Auditor? I mean, I think some Auditors think it's cool to be arrested.
I don't know about thinking it's cool to be arrested, because it's no fun. But there are some auditors who have such support that they are out within hours because people donate to get them out, whether they were right or wrong. But that's one good thing about live streaming, is you get to see it as it happens, and then people who really support you will be there for you and help with bail. I personally will never do that if I get arrested. That's just me. I'll either sit there or I will get myself out. But I don't think they think it's cool, but I think it gains subscribers and views. And so maybe on occasion, on some auditors, it might not be considered that bad of a thing.
But what they fail to realize, whether if you arrested, get out, the charges drop, dismissed, that arrest will follow you.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life.
That's true.
It don't matter if it's dismissed, whatever. It will follow you the rest of your life.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like most auditors surely think that through before they start doing this. I know I did. My employers and only my immediate blood relatives know that I do this. I don't. No one else knows I do this, and I keep it that way to keep anonymous. But my employers, if I did get arrested, would not fire me. If people found out who I worked for and started calling, they would not fire me because of a call flood of I suck because I did this or that. So I am fortunate I have that. But I know a lot of people have lost their jobs because people find out where they work and then they start making phone calls and getting them fired. And that's a problem.
And let's talk about some juvenile stuff for a minute. some kid stuff. Flipping the officer off. First Amendment, I get it. That question: if you would have to see an officer off duty, in red clothes, and he sees you videoing, and he flips you off, what would you do?
And it pissed me off how, though?
Huh?
It pissed me off in what way?
Would you go fire a plane on somebody?
If they were off duty, if they tried to talk to me as an officer, of course, I would treat them as if they were on duty and handled appropriately the exact same way. Like the off-duty deputy guy that I dealt with when he was off duty at the gym. But if he was acting as a regular citizen and told me I was a jerk for filming people, no, I would just treat them like the regular public. It's when they're on duty under the color of law that I hold them accountable, not in their personal lives.
Well, I get that. But, ladies and gentlemen, listen, these men and women who are out there protecting you, yes, protecting you and me. They're human beings, too. They got heart, they got souls. I know some of y'all think, they just bully tyrants, yada, 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 yada. They got heart and soul, too. They're human. I tell you, officers, any of y'all who would like to run y'all's mouth and be big asses, look to y'all so you see them out somewhere, flip them off to their face. Let me know how that works out for you.
Well, I will tell you my opinion about the good officer, bad officer thing. There are bad officers. There are tyrants and bad officers, period. But then there's the ones, then there's the ones that do nothing and look the other way when the other officers are wrong. They're just as culpable to me, even though they're not the ones committing the acts. If they don't report it and they go along with it, they're just as guilty, just like driving the car from robbing a bank. You should be treated the exact same way. But I think the majority of officers, when they're at home, they're probably great parents or sons or daughters, maybe do great things for the community. But when they put that badge on and they get with their blue buddies, they become blue ISIS. I mean, period.
I hate that. You're talking about people who chop people's heads off. ISIS, come on.
Okay, there's tyrants, there's jerks, but sometimes they get to that level. It does get to that level. Huh?
They don't chop people's heads off.
Okay, it's a comparison of a terrorism where they abuse their authority and kill people that did nothing to provoke being killed. Okay, that happens, period.
Let's get to that. I was kill people. People do not know the whole story behind a lot of these shootings. Is it bad? Absolutely. But the whole story, nobody knows. We don't know that the guy had a gun. He pointed at it. Tried out the gun. We all go, let's kill somebody. There's always more to the story. Do the whole story.
Yeah, but half of the stories are ending up now because of social media. People are now putting pressure on them to find out what did happen. That's like that woman that was killed when she reported what she thought was a rape, and the officer shot her. Finally, officers are going to be actually charged with crimes. Yeah. Sometimes it's flat out murder. It's murder.
The guy in South Carolina who shot the guy running. He was running, got a car and started running.
Right.
He's gonna pay a price. He should. That was terrible.
Yeah. He should have been found guilty. He was found not guilty. And the guy, the only reason he ran, he had a warrant for not paying past child support. So he was just trying to run away and he was unarmed. That guy should have been found guilty. But let me say,
He wasn't.
He was unarmed. Are you talking the guy running through like a park?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was unarmed. He was just trying to get away.
Yeah, but what the guy found guilty, right?
Huh?
The officer found guilty? Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
No.
I had heard that. I had heard that. I thought it was.
No, he wasn't. I thought he would be because it was just murder to me. But each one's being handled differently. But for the first time in Davidson County, we have our first officer. I wish I could remember his name. I have it on one of my little clips of the news that is indicted for murder. Now, the victim, he actually had a gun, but what it was they thought the car was suspicious. He was a passenger. When the car was stopped, he took off running. He had a gun, but he was, I don't know, like 30, 40 feet from him, running from the officer. He wasn't aiming the gun. He was just trying to run away. The officers just shot him down and killed him. And he's the first officer to be indicted. And I'm glad he'll probably get off. I mean, I don't think he'll be found guilty. And even if he did, it would be manslaughter. But I'm just so glad they're finally starting to charge officers because this is a whole new thing. That used to never happen.
But all shootings are not always officers' fault.
Of course not. No one claims that.
But all these auditors and whatever say, they believe everything you see on TV. There's more to the shooting than also you shot kill somebody.
Yeah. Sometimes what we don't know is everything that they did wrong and cover up. It goes both ways.
I agree. But,
okay.
But it's like, it seems like they either jump to the conclusion, he kill people. He kill people. Man, come on. Okay, nothing kind of bugs me. I think somewhere that somebody told me, it wasn't your video, I think, that officers only go to school for 6 months. That's wrong, people. If you think it's so easy to be a police officer, have at it. Give it a shot.
Well,
give your best shot. And you think it's so easy that all this think it's so easy to be a police officer. Have at it.
Oh, I commend them for dealing with the stress that they deal with. They do risk their lives and their safety every time they put on that uniform and go out there. I appreciate them for that. I really do. Highly appreciate them for that. But usually the ones that go in with really good intentions, I think, end up, even if they don't become the tyrant, even if they don't commit crimes, they turn a blind eye to the ones that do. And I do find them just as culpable. It keeps it going. And you might have a department with only 1 or 2 that are terrible, but it corrupts the entire department. Just like the video I took of Cookeville, Tennessee, the guy who wanted to be a Star Officer Brown, I finally got my complaint back that was founded and sustained, and he was terrible. He didn't do anything illegal that I know of, but under the color of law tried to block my First Amendment right to record, and that kind of behavior stained that entire department. It stained the city and every officer that works there. And it's those officers that need to be exposed by people like us that are trying to hold officers that do wrong accountable. We're not out there trying to expose the good officers. I show all my good interactions. And I call and compliment them to their supervisors because I appreciate the good officers. But we want to expose the officers who violate people's rights or are unprofessional and handle things the wrong way. We are needed in this country. Now, some are more extreme, and it's counterproductive. But do you understand that people who don't go too far are doing something for the community?
I agree. I've seen some of the videos, even out of Florida. I first saw him a couple years ago, Jeff Gray. He did some things, but I mean, he don't get out there, so I kind of like watching him. But I don't want to take this day. I punch him in his throat. I'm sorry, I'm being violent there, but he just did a good punch in his throat. I'm sorry. If you hate your state so much, hate your county so much, oh man,
No, I don't interpret hate the state as hating a particular state. I think it's the state of the police state of America. I mean, I don't know how other people interpret that title, but I see it in a different way. I interpret it differently.
But he's another one. He's another one that's so rude, immature. Had a camera find a lady around. He in trouble. I think he got Charles Stockton, I believe, on that deal.
Oh wow.
So he may be in trouble.
The only because I spend so much time involved. I mean, there's a lot more when you do it a lot, and plus I have a job and a family to take care of.
Right.
I spend my time doing this because I feel it's a civic duty that I took upon myself because I believe in it deeply. I found it by accident. Gosh, about a year and a half ago, found it by accident on YouTube, and found it to be something that I'm moved to do, and I feel it's a civic duty. Just like fighting for Huntsville to have complaint forms in their precincts. I take it that far to try to help things improve instead of just get clicks and views and not embarrass people, allow them to embarrass themselves to get views. I don't e-beg. I don't plaster GoFundMe and PayPal all over all my pages begging for money, even though it costs me a lot of money to do what I do. My only hope is to come out even one day. But I do this out of a civic duty, and I think that judging auditors, I think they should be judged individually, as we should judge police officers individually too.
And yeah, I do. I'm saying, and you said something about the start of this. That you know, if I have a channel, I do not, and I don't plan on having a channel. So y'all gonna say, you got videos? I don't need videos. I can watch, I can critique. I'm a critic, guys, but I know I'm a troll, I'm a bootlegger. That to me is what I call author speak. Y'all always talk about cosplaying. That's author speak. That's all I'm gonna say.
When I would read your when you started commenting on my videos, I graded you on a scale of 1 to 10 about a 3 to 4 on the troll meter. And bootlicker's worse than a troll, so you weren't that bad. That's why I thought maybe you and I could have a dialogue of what your issues were, because I didn't understand where you were coming from on what you were saying. It sounded like you were projecting onto me maybe things you had seen other auditors maybe say or do. And that's why I wanted to speak with you to get your view.
Let me apologize to you right now on YouTube. I kind of, in one of my comments on your video, I kind of compared you to Tyrone, the DJ. I'm so sorry. I also want about that. Forgive me for that.
No problem at all. It's an open forum. But I am very careful about my comments because I don't delete comments that are negative about me. Now, let me say to everybody listening here that there are comments that YouTube automatically puts in a different folder because they might think that it is either spam or inappropriate content, especially if there are links to Facebook pages or other YouTube channels, sometimes email addresses. One was blocked that I had to prove that simply said, I am a new subscriber. And I had to go manually say that it was okay for that to be put on my video. But I also watch because there are some people that say the only good cop's a dead cop or something like that. I totally disagree, but I will not approve those comments. But that also makes the channel look bad and the community look bad because that's not the way we feel. You know, there are people in the world that feel that way, but that's not what we're after here.
That's my main issue. I mean, yes, guys, I'm a critic. Some of y'all do it right. Like Reba does, I believe. But some of y'all just film. You ain't got to cuss. You ain't got to be respectful just to get a reaction. Just film. And go in there and just film. I mean, it stops. But don't assume you know what the stop's all about. Don't go into a PD. I mean, just, come on, ladies and gentlemen. You're adults. Act like it. That's all I got.
My favorites are sheriff departments, offices, and police departments because they should know better. They know that they should know the Constitution. They swore an oath to it. And walking in and taking pictures of a lobby, if you come up and say, "Hey, do you mind if I ask why you're taking pictures?" Well, I'm a journalist. I'm just gathering content for a story. Or I say, "I'm just taking pictures of public property or the public lobby." But then if they escalate it past then I'm done with them as far as being polite.
Yeah.
You know, but we have a right to do that. We have a right. If you can look at it, you can take pictures of it, and it's our property. It's not theirs. It's not their building.
Okay.
And they think it's their building. That's like their house.
Okay, I'm going to say something right now. Also pay taxes. Okay?
What'd you say?
They also pay taxes. They pay taxes too.
Yeah, okay? but that doesn't make them any more entitled about whether or not I take video in their office.
But that building is theirs too. They pay taxes too. They pay taxes too. Okay?
Yeah, but come on.
Okay,
come on.
Hang on.
They act like it's their home.
Hang on.
Okay.
If authors believe that that's, like they say, that's their house, whatever, look at your tent. Picture in there somewhere. Let me know how that works for you. If that's your property, get your tent and picture it there. And let me know how that works out for you.
Okay, I can't comprehend the comparison, so I can't respond to that one.
I'm just saying, if others think that that's their property, there'll be a tent, and put up and let me know how it works out for you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, you said it again, and I still don't relate to what you're saying at all, so I don't have a comment either way on it.
Okay. That's your property, right?
It's yours, right? It's everybody's property. It's the public's property.
Okay. Well, you're public. Go get you a tent and put it on your property.
You can't come in my house and film my kids because this is private property.
I know, but I'm just saying that, I just trying to say that if that's your property so bad, go get you a tent and put it up there and say that's your property. I'm just trying to say, everybody pay taxes, even officers. That's your property.
So they can film it too.
And that's their property.
Yeah, they can film it all they want. I even let them work in there. I even pay for their air conditioning. I make sure they keep cool in the summer. I make sure that they're warm in the winter. I do. Have you ever seen the freaking atriums that are larger than the size of a house that we keep climate controlled year round for them?
Okay. It's another thing. Filming jails and prisons, like it or not, that could be considered a security risk.
No. Build a wall, man. Build a wall. Build a wall. No. If you can ride down the road and go pull in and park there and you can see it all from the road, what is the difference in taking a picture of it?
I'm gonna tell you something. Of all things I would ever want to go video and take a picture of would be a jail or a prison.
Well, let me say, my favorite.
More stuff out there in video than jails and prisons.
My favorite audit I ever did was a jail, and the title was, I think, Robertson County Jail Sheriff Department First Amendment Audit. It's in Tennessee, and it was this wonderful. He was a jail guard, whatever you call them, that work in the jail. He worked night shift, and he came out, and we had this awesome dialogue. Plus, he was handsome and charming, which made it even all the more better for me. But
Right.
He answered wonderful questions, and we had this great conversation. And I called his supervisor and told him how appreciated I was, and it was a great video, and he impressed me the most. And it was at a jail. What's the big deal? It's a jail. It's a building. Come on, build a wall. Build a wall if you don't want us to see it.
I get most auditors, not you, have been in jail, prison, so it's like going back home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But come on, I'll tell you the video. If I had a video, I would not go film a jail or prison. I'm sorry.
I only have two, and one I was forced to leave or would have been arrested. The other jail I went to was my favorite audit, because the guy was wonderful, and it was Robertson County, Tennessee. It was awesome.
Right.
It was in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It was wonderful, and they had this big piece of 9/11, one of the rusted steel pillars that was, that they distribute across the country there. And I couldn't believe I was standing at a piece of one of the Twin Towers. I mean, the video was just excellent, and I loved it, and I loved the guy. And it was a great audit. And it's not a security risk when you can stand there and look at it all day long. Taking a picture of it or video is not making it less secure.
Yeah, I agree.
But the reason I actually went there was the sheriff's department was located in the same place. I actually didn't go because it was a jail. The sheriff's department was on the same property. And so it was just kind of a double whammy of, which department was going to approach me, and it actually was a guy that worked in the jail instead of one of the sheriffs. So, but it was a great audit, and there's nothing wrong with video in a jail if you can look at the jail. It's not a security risk. Or they would build a great big freaking wall or put it out there on Alcatraz or something, and then I'd get a drone. I mean, God, it's a building.
I get it, I reckon. Okay.
All right. Okay. I'm going to end this because we've hit almost an hour here. But I really enjoyed the conversation with you. I appreciate you being so open with your opinion. And I wish you a lot of luck, and I really do appreciate your honesty and your candor.
I thank you for letting me speak my mind, and all this, please, try to be nicer. If you're nicer, then I also might be a little nicer to you. But some believe that.
It's true. I believe a lot of my positive. I have more positive encounters because I am more positive. I do want to make a statement about my pajama attire and how I don't look very nice when I go audit. There's a reason behind that. I am assumed to be an uneducated hick, and it makes me look a lot easier to intimidate and like I would know less about my rights. So officers are much more prone to come up with an attitude and not expect me to have a clue about what I'm talking about and what my rights are, and that they can hassle me more. So that's why I dress like that and don't dress nicely and try to look pretty when I go somewhere. That is the reason why, everyone. That is the reason why. Usually when I go out of town or something, I do look nicer. But otherwise, there's a reason for it. It's not that I just am plain white trash, even though I am in my own way compared to some people. And I don't mind owning that. I am country, redneck, hick, anything you want to call us Southerners and mountain people.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
What?
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I take pride in it, man. I take pride in where I'm from and my roots, I grew up farming in the mountains, and I'm proud of it. So, some people use that as some kind of insult to me, but I actually take it as a compliment. So, anyway, that's the method to that madness of why I look the way I do. So,
it's all good.
all right. Okay, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for the interview.
Bye, Reba.
All right, bye-bye.